Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you. Hey, it's Nate with another piano tutorial. Today we're doing Close to You by Carpenters. Great song, beautiful piano part with really interesting chord changes. Despite being full of jazzy sounding chords, it's not incredibly tricky to play with the exception of a couple totally optional details. It does have a key change in the middle, so you sort of have to learn each section twice to play the whole song. So maybe it's a bit of a project song for some of you, but if you love it, I encourage you to give it a go. Let's jump in. Okay, so first off, I recommend getting the chords and lyrics chart. There's a link down in the description. That'll help you follow along and see where the chords line up with the lyrics that you sing. And until the key change in the middle, we're basically gonna be in the key of G, so that's all white keys, but the Fs are sharped. Also, this is middle C for reference. Let's start out with the intro. Here's sort of the underlying chords for that. We're gonna take both our hands up a little bit high. So our left hand is down on middle C, and we're both in this kind of C 5-finger position here. And for the C add 2 chord, the right hand's gonna do D, E, and G. So 2, 3, 5 for fingers there. And then for that C chord, we're just dropping the bottom note down to a simple C major chord, C, E, G. And at its core, the piano part here is doing 3 measures where you do the C add 2 for 2 counts. We're in 4/4 time, so the measures each get 4 counts. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, it repeats again, 2, 3, repeats a third time, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2, 3, 4. So that final measure at the bottom there is just a full measure of the C add 2. Now, there's a little bit more going on with the piano part, so let's add some stuff. We're gonna need to think in eighth notes, so not just thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, but dividing the beats in half, thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and we're kind of swinging it long, short, long, short, long, swung eighth notes here. And the only note the left hand plays in this section actually is a G, so that's the 5th of the chord. And it's going to hit on the and after 2 and the and after 4. So if we just take the first measure, it's gonna look like this. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and again, we can just loop that a few times. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, just like that. Now the final detail here is, so there's 3 of these measures, right? The first and the third are exactly like I just played it, but the middle one has this cool little melodic moment. So we're gonna do this little melody that goes D, E, D, and on the 2 Ds, we're gonna harmonize with our pinky on G. D, E, D, and then it goes back to the C. D, E, D, 4. So the second half of the measure is the same. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So the whole intro then would be 1, 2 and 3, 4, and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and 1, 2 and 3, 4, and 1, 2. Why do birds? So now we are in the first verse. Let's do it. Here's the underlying chord progression for the verses. And right off the bat, I'm moving my hands down an octave. So the first chord you see here in the right hand is that C add 2 again. We're just doing it down an octave lower than we just were. And all throughout this verse, I'm going to actually do octaves in the left hand. If you can't make that stretch, you could pick whichever octave sounds better to you. And so the left hand throughout is just gonna be doing octaves or single bass notes on the note that the chord is named after. So let's kind of just go through the chords themselves and then we can get into some details. So we got the C add 2, and that lasts a measure. Now we have a measure where we have B sus4 and B major. So 2 counts of each. B sus4 is B, E, and F sharp. And then the B major, just that middle note resolves down to a D sharp or an E flat. Then we're gonna stay on the B bass note for another measure, and this is gonna be a B minor 7 chord. Really beautiful change there. So pinky stayed on F sharp, and then these 2 notes both kind of step down. We've got an A and a D. Finally, we've got this E minor 7. So coming up to E here, and then B, D, G. Notice I'm using my second finger there. And that's for only 2 counts before the middle note steps up to just make it sort of a regular sounding E minor triad. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can I'll play the whole line. You can play this all with the right hand, just doing quarter notes, playing on every count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Let's go to the next line. We're starting with a C major 7. Now, it's important to note, or it makes it easier to realize, that the right hand voicing for this C major 7 is exactly where we just left off with the E minor chord. So we're just changing the bass note there. For 2 counts, 1, 2, C add 2 for 2 counts, just like we've been doing it. C major, like we did it before, C add 2 for 2 counts. So we're just going kind of back and forth between different C voicings there. 1, like me, they long to be. Okay, almost done here. G major 9 chord. Really beautiful chord. So I'm doing this G bass note here, and the right hand's got a B, a D, and an F sharp. Using 1, 2, 3, and 5 for the fingers there. And it's just there for two full measures, although in the beginning of the second measure, you can just kind of hit it and let it be silent for a minute. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Why do stars? Then it would be going into the second verse. And that's really all you would need to know to just jump in and start practicing playing and singing this song. There's a couple details we can go into here, though. While we're thinking of that last chord, the G major 9, on the recording, it sounds like, at least for the first 2 verses, they first just land in the bottom part of it and then add the top part, the 7th. Close to you. So you can play around with that if you want. They don't do it the same way every time. It can be kind of loose. The other thing is, you might have noticed I'm starting to do a little bit of extra rhythm in my left hand. Thinking in 8th notes again. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. So I'm just going to be doing that throughout. You can even sometimes do something like 1, 2, and 3, 4. Sometimes when you have the and 3, you can do one note and then add the other. If you're doing the octaves, they play around with that throughout the recording. One last little detail that's kind of fun here is just on your way down to that B7, just hitting a C. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3. Yeah, cool. That's the verse. So after that verse, we have a second verse, very similar, just different words. Here's the chords for that. You'll notice there's one difference, which is the G9 at the end. So I'll talk about that, but also leading into this verse, and this is the one time it really does this, but it's worth mentioning. There's this cool, okay, so from the end of close to you, why do stars? So just leading into the second verse, da da da. That's D, D flat, and then you can land on C. I do thumb, second finger, step under to land in the octaves there, and timing there is like 1, 2, 3, 4, and da da. So I guess those are 16th notes, but you can throw that in if you want. And looking at the end of this verse, here's that G major 9 we were talking about. Now, here's just the G9. So the 7th steps down and makes it kind of the core chord is a dominant 7 instead of the major 7. It's got a little bit more bite to it. So we're just doing an F here. Let me play this whole verse. Why do stars fall down from the sky every time you walk by? A little high for me. Just like me, they long to be close to you. So that would be going into the bridge. One last optional detail here. The piano does a cool thing on that G9. Close to you. it just sort of does this little melody, da da da. So to kind of hear that change, you can just hit the A but not the B, and then you can hit the B but not the A. Just kind of stepping down there at the end. So a little tricky, but if you want to throw in something like that, it sounds pretty cool. So in verse 3, you'll notice that the E minor has an asterisk on it. Instead of saying E minor 7 to E minor, it just says E minor. You can play it exactly how we've been doing it, but a little variation that happens in the piano part on the recording is it goes straight to playing B and G, and then just steps down in sixths. So it sounds really pretty there. So we got B and G stepping down to A and F sharp, stepping down to G and E. 1, 2, 3, 4, just like me. And then from there, it's the same. So I'm probably going to slip that in my version just for that one verse. Okay, and now we're in the bridge. That's the on the day that you were born, the angels got together. So here is the underlying chord progression for that bridge. So as you can see in the first line here, we've got 4 chords crammed into each of those measures. So that means you're doing a different chord on every count, but they flow pretty smoothly. So first off, we start with the C, and this is an inversion on, we're doing a root position C. If you invert it down 1 with your thumb on G and then C and E, you've got the chord we need here. And basically the top 2 notes are going to stay the same, and we're going to just step the bottom note up from the G, then to the A for the C6 sound, then to the B for that C major 7 sound, and back down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be on the day that you were born, the angels got together. So not too tricky there. And then we've got this B minor 7, just like we did it before. And decided to create a dream come. So a measure of that. Now E9 sus4, that looks tricky. You're already doing what you need to be doing in the right hand. The only thing that changes here is the left hand comes up to this E. Really cool chord. It's very expectant. It needs to resolve to this E major chord here. So that is a B, E, and a A flat there. But just notice it's the same shape we were doing for the B minor moving to the E9 sus4. You just step in that shape up to resolve it there. Okay, and then we got 4 more measures here. We're gonna go, this is gonna be a C add 2, just like we have been doing it all along. And we're gonna start just letting the bottom note climb down across the next 2 measures. 1, 2, C, to C major 7, to C6, 2. So just E and G on top the whole time, every 2 counts. And then we've got this D major chord. We're voicing that the same way we did the B minor 7, but with a D bass note. A, D, F sharp, blue. And then we've got this cool moment. So let me just kind of go back over that slowly, and then we can get into that tricky stuff. On the day that you were born, the angels got together and decided to create a dream come true. So I'm gonna sing down an octave here. Sprinkled moon dust in your hair and golden starlight in your eyes of blue too. Okay, this is where the D add 2 comes in. So D add 2 is, this is how we're gonna voice it. D, E, F sharp, and A. And these are just sort of decorations. I'd say this whole thing is optional, but we're gonna go eyes of blue, 2, 3. So you sort of just slide down top, middle, middle, bottom, just kind of adding to the chord as you go down. And rhythmically, the target where you actually hit the root of the chord is beat 3, but you kind of start earlier. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then target for the bottom note of this one, which is just the same thing an octave down, is beat 1 of that next measure. 1, 2, That is why. That would be going into the third verse. So one more time here. So they sprinkled moon dust in your hair and golden starlight in your eyes of blue. That is why all the girls in... So that's going into that third verse, which is really just the same thing as the first verse. And now we are done playing in this key, and for the rest of the song, everything is down a half step lower. So we're now basically in the key of A flat major. So we've got these flats, the A flat, B flat, D flat, and E flat. And here's the chords for this next interlude section, which is basically just a verse in this new key, but without singing. There's a trumpet solo going on. I think it's a trumpet. But so you already know the flow and rhythm, how to do all this, but let's walk through the notes in this new key. So the D flat add 2. So we're going to do a D flat here in the left hand. And then the right hand is going to be E flat, F, and A flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. So stepping down to C. For C sus4, it's C, F, and G. 1, 2, move the middle note down a half step. Now C minor 7, same bass note. So that's gonna be B flat, E flat, keeping that pinky on G. 1, 2, 3, 4, F minor 2, 3, 4. So that's C, F, and A flat, and of course doing an F bass note here. There is a little detail here. I put a little asterisk on the chord chart because the piano part does this. So we're just stepping down 6th there. So that's C and A flat, stepping down to B flat and G, stepping down to A flat and F. And the time in there is just 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're in the second line. D flat add 2, just like before. Down to regular D flat major. So D flat, F, and A flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing again. 1, 2, 3, 4. A flat major 9. So A flat bass notes, and then B flat, C, E flat, G. 1, 2, 3, 5 for the fingers. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're not going to hold out that chord for that whole A flat major 9 there. So I'm just doing the piano accompaniment here. I am not doing those notes of the trumpet solo, I just don't have enough hands. I don't think it's necessary. But the one thing I do miss is in that space where the third verse has just ended, close to you for 1, 2. I miss hearing the dun, dun. Those first 2 trumpet notes kind of announce that the key is changing. So I'm just going to throw those in. I can get my hand in position for that first D add 2 and just play a F and a A flat. So the time in there would be close to you, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and then we're in the interlude. Okay, what I just did, feel free to skip ahead. I'm going to show you that though, because it's really cool, but it is really tricky and totally optional. And I'm going to go a little bit fast here. So this is for the second measure of the 2 measures of the A flat major 9. There's an asterisk on your chord chart just to kind of let you know that there's something weird going on here. So instead of just holding that A flat major 9 there, we're going to do this. So we're going to hop up here to these 6ths. So E flat and C, and we're just going to step down 6 a couple times. So the one I just showed you, and then this one, which is just black keys, D flat and B flat, and then C and A flat. And fingering, you could make it a little smoother if you kind of do something like that, or you can just hop the outside notes. Probably do that. And then we go, you hit that one again, bring it up to a fifth. So you keep that A flat and then go up to the D flat here. So, and then finally, you go down to this sort of just regular old A flat major here, A flat, C, E flat. And we're doing that, and then you keep the pinky here and change these two fingers to do a G and a B flat. So the whole thing. Timing is a little tricky. It uses triplets, so dividing the beat into 3, triplet. I'm not going to break it down exactly. If you are advanced enough to be playing this, just take it slow, figure it out by ear, but those are the notes, and it sounds really cool. So after that instrumental interlude in the new key, we have another bridge, but this time, of course, it is also in the new key. So that's this part. Here's the chords for that. This is where we just are stepping that bottom note up on every count. So once again, we're doing like an inversion down on this time a D flat major chord. So it's going to be A flat, D flat, and F. And the bottom note is just stepping up within that key. So to B flat and C to get those. So on the day that you were born, the angels got together and now C minor 7, cited, just like we were voicing it before, to create a dream come. Now here's that intense looking chord again, but once again, only the bass note needs to change to F, and then stepping up to an F major chord here. C, F, A. Okay, now this part is really similar as well. We got the D flat add 2, regular D flat, so D flat in the bass, stepping down to D flat major 7 with the thumb on C, stepping down one more time to B flat. So one more time. Sprinkled moon dust in your hair and golden starlight in your eyes of blue. This is a little different here. We got E flat sus 4, stepping up to E flat here, and then we got B flat, E flat, and A flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, resolving it down to regular old E flat, so that top A flat just steps down to a G, 2. That is why, and then we would be going into the fourth verse. Here's the chords for the fourth verse, and we've basically done all this because the first 2 lines of this are just like the interlude, including if you want to add that on the second A flat major 9 in the second line. But this verse tags on an extra time around on just like me, they long to be. That's what that third line there is. I'll play it through once. That is why all the girls in town follow you all around, just like me. They long to be close to you. You can do another da-da-da, or just hold it 2, 3, and then again. Just like me, they long to be. So that, the way I've broken it down, is technically the end of that verse, and then we're gonna land in the outro for close to you. And that is just like the intro, the first part of it, at least. Here's the chords for that. So we've got A flat add 2. So that's going to be B flat, C, and E flat here. The left hand is also kind of in that A flat position, but we're just doing the 5th again with the thumb on the E flat. And that's going to be 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2. So just like we did in the intro, only the notes have changed. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Now here's the final line of the outro. This is the last chord progression we're doing for the rest of the song, and that's for the close to you. So these are all chords we've been doing. It repeats this 4 times here. Close to you. You can do this little thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah. So just on that one, they anticipate it by an 8th note. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3. Ah. So 2 more times around there, and you just end on close to you. Now, I think that would be a good way to end a song. But on the studio recording, they have this extended moment where the piano starts going. Basically, you're just going back and forth between left hand on A flat, right hand on A flat, and then you do that twice. And then you start stepping up the top note within the notes of the scale, but keeping the A flat. So we add a B flat. This time it's a C, but we keep the A flat. Then it's a D flat, keeping the A flat. And you kind of pause longer. And again, this is totally optional, but I thought I'd mention it. Finally, there's a high E flat. And then you can slam back into close to you. And from here, it repeats around a bunch of times and fades out, which is not easy to do solo piano. So I would suggest either ending the song before all that stuff, or if you really want to do that, when you come back here, maybe just do it 2 or 4 more times and just end on a close to you. I think for my version, I will just do 2 there and let it ring out, and then the song is over. All right, thank you for sticking with me. I'm gonna do a full cover now so you can see how all these different parts fit together. If you liked this video in your mind, also give it a like on YouTube with the thumbs up button, and subscribe to the channel if you are not already. Click the bell so you know when I put out more videos like this. Also, leave a request in the comments if there's a song you really wanna learn and it's not already on my channel. And now here is my version of Close to You. Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you. Why do stars fall down from the sky every time you walk by? Just like me, they long to be close to you. On the day that you were born, the angels got together and decided to create a dream come true. So they sprinkled moon dust in your hair and golden starlight in your eyes of blue. That is why all the girls in town follow you all around. Just like me, they long to be close to you. On the day that you were born, the angels got together and decided to create a dream come true. So they sprinkled moon dust in your hair and golden starlight in your eyes of blue. That is why friends in town follow you all around. Just like me, they long to be close to you. Just like me, they long to be close to you. 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 Close to